Soroptimist International is a women's movement that encompasses the whole world. I believe in Soroptimist because I'm a woman, and I am fortunate to have some things that maybe other women don't. I don't think there's any woman or girl that can be labeled disadvantaged, but there are many women and girls who come from a disadvantaged situation, whether it's a household that's dysfunctional, whether they come from a divorced family, whether there has been physical or sexual abuse. And as a woman, I feel it's my job to try and help change this. And honestly, I think we are.
The three programs that our club has are the Dream It Be It program, the Live Your Dream Awards, and the Go Girls program. These wonderful women who volunteer their time and give back to the community, helping all these other women who are in need. And it's just a great feeling to be able to be in charge of this group this year.
Dream It Be It Career Support for Girls. It's a program aimed at high school age girls. This year we did conferences for 5 of the local high schools and touched over 400 girls.
I attended all of the Soroptimist Dream It Be It conferences this year. The experience was amazing. I watched girls realize that the obstacles that they're feeling could be overcome, that there are other women and girls that have had these obstacles prior to them, that they have common ground with these women and girls.
I was lucky enough to be able to host about 80 girls at our school site, and you could hear a pin drop. They were so engaged and moved, I think, by the experiences of real women like us sharing their moments.
My story that I spoke at the Dream It Be It conference was about my sister Jenny. Jenny, for my whole life, has been my support system. She's been my why. So when I was asked to speak about the terms of my own bullying through being her sister, it was really impactful to me. It gave me hope that I could impact someone else's life. It gave me the doorway to show another person who may have a special needs sibling that they're not alone. And it gave me a platform to really embrace that differences are just differences. Age is just a number, well, disability is just a label.
In the Latina community, most girls are to come home and take care of their siblings and take care of the chores in the household. I had it differently. I did have chores and I didn't have younger siblings, but I did have nieces and nephews I was asked of to babysit. So I think it's good for them to be able to balance out both of them and know what it's like to take care of your siblings and have your personal life as well too. They need that person to lean on because they don't have a support system at home. So for me, just being able to show up and show them that I care about them in a way that they're probably not getting at home is most important to me, that they have someone to lean on and to look up to and can contact whenever they need us.
I had a student at one of the high schools who was in my group, in my yellow team group, and she came up to me after the conference and she asked to take a picture with me, and I thought it was really sweet, and she asked for my number. And about a week or so later, she actually said that she was going through a hard time and needed to talk to someone. When I met with her and she opened up to me about a very traumatic experience that she's been dealing with since she was a young girl, and an experience that I have personally gone through, that to me, there are no words, to be honest. The fact that I could show someone a pathway or to lead them to something that's a safe place for them, and to be a safe place for them, is life-changing for me, because during my experience through high school, I didn't know what sexual harassment was. I didn't know what defined it. So when certain things were happening to me, or I was experiencing certain things with my friends, I wasn't able to correctly handle the situation because I wasn't educated. And I feel that in society today, it's something that isn't really talked about still. It's very taboo, and when I asked in my speech how many people have been victims of sexual harassment, it was shocking and chilling to see how many hands were raised. So for me to share the Me Too movement and to share the message that no, this isn't just something that happens every once in a while. This is something that happens on a daily basis to girls, not only in low economic socio classes, but also in affluent classes as well.
So especially in today's day and age, sex discrimination happens a lot, especially in the workplace where there's a lot of men that are there or in careers that are male dominant. We as women unfortunately experience things like this. So I thought it was important for the girls to understand that it does happen and how to handle it. And so for me personally, the situation did happen where I was discriminated based on my gender. And so I wanted to share that story with these girls to show them that it doesn't have to stop you, but that it can be your motivation to push forward and make things happen and make your dreams happen.
Body image for me, I think, it's very personal. And every single student, every single woman on this planet has had a body image issue. I mean, if you want curly hair, if you want straight hair, if you think you're fat, if you think you're too thin, if you think that you're not beautiful enough. I've even had girls tell me that they didn't like the way their chin looked. I mean, body image is such a universal and such a stigma in our culture today. When I made my presentation on body image, I wanted these girls to truly start looking into what they were benchmarking themselves against. In today's society, airbrushing is routine. Magazines, if you're not beautiful, you don't hold the cover of a magazine. The word beauty means so much more than just your outside appearance, and they are responsible for what they are putting out there, and they are responsible for how they are perceiving self-love. One of the biggest things that I could have taught them is you need to love yourself before others can love you.
It was great listening to the speeches. They were impactful in their own ways. Some hit on subjects that I've personally been affected by. Some, it was really cool to see how it affected someone next to me and how I can kind of talk to them different now knowing their situation. The line game was really an opportunity to see what I had in common with some of the other girls in the program. You pretty much, or a mentor would ask us questions and we had to step to the line if this was us. For me, the one that I really stepped to the line was step to the line if you're living with someone that is not your biological parent. And it was really cool to kind of see how many people had that in common with me, because it's a very touchy subject in some ways, but I love seeing I can talk to this person about that, or this person has that in common with me. So it's really cool just to see the unique traits that we all have. I also really loved when we just sat down in a circle at the end and got to cut off bracelets, because now I know that we're attached in some way.
I have had the opportunity to not work with a small group of students. I've worked with over 400 students this year, and next year we're already set up and designed to be reaching over 700 students in our district. And one of the great and amazing things about this is within this program, we had over 30 students come forward with sexual assault and sexual violence in their homes. We had over 20 students come forward and talk to us about suicide and talk to us about darkened thoughts, whether it was cutting, whether it was anorexia, whether it was bulimia. And I don't think any of us were prepared for that, because when you go into a program where you're speaking on these issues, you think they're gonna listen, it might resonate, and they might say, I'm gonna speak to my counselor. But it was pretty remarkable because these students were opening up to us. To have a 16-year-old girl or 17-year-old girl look at you and say, I'm being molested right now, and I don't know how to make it stop, that truly changes your life.
Having the opportunity to have seen them since the conference, they have shared stories like, I know I can do this. I know that I can go to college. I know that even if I'm starting at a community college, even if I'm starting at a vocational program, I know that my dreams are possible.
There is tremendous relevance to this Dream It Be It program in collaboration with Soroptimist. We are charged in the Career and College Readiness Department for helping our students to realize where they might fit in the workforce of tomorrow. So the relevance that the Dream It Be It program can bring is that these girls can realize that they can dream about careers, that they can think ahead to where they might fit into the workforce of the future, and that as they look around to the women that are their mentors, that they look around to the peers that they have there in the room, they will realize that they all can find a pathway to a productive future in the workforce.
The Go Girls program, GO actually stands for Girls Only, and it's a program that actually was started by the Sheriff's Department, the Youth Activity League. The Sheriff Deputy who was in charge of the program expressed to us how badly he needed some women to help mentor these girls, because it was him, and he had to talk to these girls about things like wearing deodorant, wearing a bra, hygiene issues, and it was him, and he felt uncomfortable with that. Several of the girls were scared to death. They couldn't speak. Several of them had come from not wonderful backgrounds. So many people in their lives have left, so they didn't really trust who we were and why we were there. And we came in and we said, we're going to come once a month and we're going to do fun things together.
We do different projects with them. Last year we took them to Sacramento on a flight. They've never been on a plane.
And we set it up so they met with women who were pretty powerful in their fields. They met with women lobbyists, women legislators. They met with people who worked for the State Department. Every one of them told the girls a story about their humble beginnings. And it was so wonderful to be able to see these girls just look in their eyes and see how meaningful it was for them, that they could actually be anything that they want to be.
I love the Live Your Dream Awards. They are for women who are primary supporters of their family and assist them with going to school, improving their career and a skill. And they don't necessarily need to be used for books. They support them in either if they need childcare to continue to go to school or gas to get to school, whatever they need, that's what the grant is for.
Since its inception in 1972, there's been $30 million worth of awards given to women who are the single providers of their family and continuing education. Locally, we have 22 chapters, and most recently, every chapter was involved with the program, so we had a full house.
At a young age, I didn't really have parents. My parents were non-existent emotionally and basically non-existent physically. I dropped out of high school at 16 years old, and to me, college was never something that I thought I was going to do. I never thought that it was in my future. So I worked various jobs at the mall, working for minimum wage, when I found out that I was pregnant. And when I got pregnant, I knew that my life was something I didn't want my son to have. And I am going to be graduating with 2 associate degrees this June. And I will be continuing my education to get my license for MFT at Bradman University, and my son gets to continue his education at College of the Canyons.
I think it's incredibly important to invest in the education for the people around where we are. I think that when you look in your own backyard and you lift up your neighbors and you lift up those who are part of your community, that it only grows and it fosters that sense of belonging. It lets the women know they do belong, and everybody is rooting for them. There's a whole group of women rooting for them.
If anyone else went through anything that I went through, anything similar, I would tell them that there's a light at the end of the tunnel, that you just have to keep fighting, just keep going, and everything does come out the way it's supposed to be at the end.
Failure, to me, is just an opportunity to make a change, and that failure is never failure in a sense. Failure is success. If I didn't know what failure was, I couldn't communicate that to other people, and just being able to communicate that failure is not a bad thing, it's actually a good thing.
We are one of the only NGOs who has a seat at the United Nations. Antonio Guterres has said, unless there's economic empowerment of women, we will never reach the 2030 Sustainable Development Goals. It's one of the proudest things that I know about Soroptimist.